Hello, Your Honor. Good evening.
Good evening. And the person who's connected via telephone, is that Ms. Johnson?
It's the interpreter, Your Honor. Spanish interpreter.
Okay, thanks. Jail, do we have any Spanish speakers this evening that you're aware of?
That's going to be a negative, Your Honor.
All right. We'll catch up with you. We'll contact you if that turns out to be incorrect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Interpreter's going to hang up. Have a good night.
You too.
And Your Honor, this is Jenna Johnson, the public defender. I apologize. I'm having to join on Teams. I thank you.
Yep, I got your email and I saw the initials, so I knew it was you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Jesse Shore.
Mr. Shore. Have an interim complaint charging with aggravated shoplifting. Alleged occurred between May 11th and September 12th, 2024. And who were you pointing, Marty? You didn't check box. That's okay. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions.
Your Honor, we would just ask for a nominal bond, given that he is already being held in custody and has been unable to pay the current bond imposed of, I believe, $2,500.
Check for sentencing with a mitigated 1-year term, so.
135. It's 135. I don't know. We'll be the for next.
All right, preliminary hearing date will be January the 30th at 1:30. Bond will be $2,500. If you post the bond, you're not to return to any Walgreens, not to possess any firearms, consume any alcohol or illegal drugs.
So I'm going to remain in jail until the 30th.
Well, you've still got your felony sentencing, so yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Shore. I suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney.
The bio here. Here. The first one here? Yes.
Good evening, I'm Judge Tate, and you, sir, are.
José Martín Ceballos Rivera.
Citations here charging you with domestic violence, disorderly conduct, fighting, alleged to have occurred this morning in the vicinity of your residence.
Yeah.
Your next court date is going to be on the 23rd. So Thursday. And that is AM, correct, Marty? Okay. It said PM and I didn't think that's right. At 8:30 in the morning in the Green Valley Justice Court. Do you understand you need to be present at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll be released on your signature appear. No acts of domestic violence, no alcohol or illegal drugs, no contact with Hector. You don't go to his residence or workplace. If you were sharing a residence, then you can go back once with law enforcement to pick up your belongings as long as he's still living there. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Ceballos.
Thank you.
Salvador.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are.
Alejandro García Salvador.
Mr. Salvador.
Yes.
First thing I have here is a warrant from October 5th, charges from October 15th of 2022 for domestic violence assault. Looks like this was a warrant for violating terms of probation or terms of sentence, warrant issued in December of this year. That bond will remain at $500. David Mize is appointed to represent you. Your next court will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And we also have new charges for domestic violence assault. Again, David Mize will be appointed to represent you. Bond is $500 on this as well, so that's two separate bonds. You've also got probation out of city court that may be affected by this. Again, your next court date is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. No contact with Julia. You don't go near her residence or workplace. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Watson.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Mason Watson.
Mr. Watson. Let's see what we have here for you. We have current charges for assault. Looks like this is alleged to have occurred on July the 19th.
I have no idea what that's about at all.
Something between you and Priscilla.
Syllable. Right.
Then I have charges here from March of 2021 for criminal trespass. Along with several failures to appear, including after you posted bond, so someone lost $250. Your next court date is February 20, excuse me. Bond again will be $250. post the bond, your court date will be February 20th at 2 o'clock. If you haven't posted, it'll be January 28th at 1:45. No contact with Priscilla. You don't go near her residence. You're go near 3660 East 3rd. No alcohol or drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no firearms or weapons. You do have an adult probation hold. So I can't tell you how long that will hold you. So you certainly don't want to post the bond until that's been cleared up. Right. Thank you, Mr. Watson. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
My name is Wayne Yamasta.
counsel.
And Your Honor, go with reading of the charges.
But I just, we were overlapping. You're waiving reading, is that correct, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. I apologize for speaking over you.
That's all right. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions without reference to the charges, please?
Your Honor, the recommendation is based on that nature, Your Honor, the nature of the offenses and multiple devices that were located.
Ms. Johnson.
And Your Honor, we would ask that you release him to pretrial services supervision, alternatively impose a significantly lower bond. He is 75 years old. It does appear that this is his first felony arrest of any kind. He does not have an NVCA flag. He's a 1 on the NCA scale, a 1 on the FTA scale. It also appears he has no prior misdemeanor arrests or convictions of any kind, nor any prior failures to appear of any kind. Pretrial services was able to speak with his wife, who did confirm that they reside together and that he is retired. Given his absolute lack of criminal history, given his confirmed housing, we would ask that you release him to pretrial services supervision, alternatively impose a significantly lower bond in light of his history.
Preliminary hearing date's gonna be January the 30th, 1:30. Bond is $35,000. If you post the bond, you'll be restricted of pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, no contact with any minors, no internet usage on any device, and behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment as available while in custody or under the direction of pretrial services if you're out of custody. Do you understand that?
I do.
Other than in the course of treatment, I'd suggest you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney.
I will.
Thank you, Mr. Muska. I'm Judge Shade, and you are,
Valerie Rose, I can be. Under. Maggie. Finish.
and I couldn't quite hear you when you gave me your name.
Valerie Rose, I can be. Fairway Clevenger.
Ms. Clevenger, I have 3 warrants for you out of Pima County Justice Court.
Okay.
I have charges
No.
that go back to July 18th of 2023 for disorderly conduct, disturbing a meeting, and indecent exposure.
Well, that must have been the ages.
Looks like you're supposed to be in court last February.
Oh. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
We'll set a court date for tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Appoint Douglas Taylor to represent you. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no contact with the victims. You don't go back to the incident locations.
Okay, am I being released?
No.
I have a home that I'm worried about.
Well, given your failure to appear history,
I've been going to court. And this has come up a couple of times. And I've been to court. And for some reason it come up again.
I have at least a half a dozen warrants here for you.
But I'm tired of this. How can I ever get a job and keep my house if y'all keep on arresting?
I also have charges from August the 17th for possession of paraphernalia, August 15th of 23, 17th of 23, along with failure to appear, and also criminal trespass from January 3rd of 2024. And your next court date on these is going to be tomorrow at 1 o'clock. You're not to return to this location, no alcohol or illegal drugs. This didn't carry over to any of them. So those are all set for tomorrow. Then I have a stack of files here out of Tucson City Court. Possession of paraphernalia, criminal trespass, and possession of paraphernalia.
Well, ma'am, I'm not denying anything. What are we doing now? Ma'am, well, what are you doing now?
I'm just advising you of the charges against you. Okay, so
Okay, then, doesn't mean you.
possession of paraphernalia from December the 4th, failure to appear on December the 17th, just last month. Charges for criminal trespass, October 22nd of 2023.
I don't know, ma'am.
Failure to appear on November the 2nd of 2023, and additional times
What have you? I
Appear on August 31st of 2023, along with multiple failures to appear.
no shit. So that's $123,000 so far.
You're told to reconnect.
That wasn't the out now? Yeah. Talking at your mom, sir. That's why I'm taking the place of. Kept bringing me down. I shall figure out what we're doing. Oh dear.
And these will also be $250. City Public Defender's Office will be appointed to represent you.
It's me this morning.
Your next court date will be
No, it's not Thursday.
January 27th. That's a week from.
Oh man, whoa, 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 how long did it hold me for? Because these brats they're busting my ass, man. He said tomorrow at 1:30. I was good with that.
Well, that's Justice Court. City Court is Monday at 1:45.
I ain't planning to hold me for months, what?
Right. Thank
Because
you.
I don't want to be here for months. I'm getting-
Okay, so
You haven't been coming to court.
Yes, I have. The last time I was at court, check when was the last time I was at court.
Thank you.
Ma'am, at 1:30, I'm going to court tomorrow. Now, I want to make sure I'm not going to get fucked here.
This offshore, are you here for a felony case? I just wanted to.
No, she is not.
Yes,
Okay.
I am. I was given the wrong times to appear. I was told 8 o'clock. I double checked that on the websites as well. Wayne Yarmuska is my client. I would like to provide the court information regarding his bond that I don't think was said to the court.
We've already done him. Ms.
But Judge, you
Bartels.
can't give the defense attorneys the wrong times. It can't be posted incorrectly on the websites. We called clerks in anticipation of this day. I would ask you to call him back where I can waive his presence, but I absolutely need to provide you information about my client regarding his bond.
Okay, let me deal with the people I've got in front of me. And
Okay.
we'll get to you, but I ate
Okay.
at 7 o'clock for well over a year. I have no
It
idea
says
what's posted anywhere.
8 o'clock on all of the websites, and we talked to clerks in anticipation. I did, and they told me 8. Or I'm clearly waiting to do this.
Okay, I will let Judge Lufke know that there's a problem with that.
Thank you.
Marty? Do you have a staple remover? Something got stapled to the wrong file. Thanks, man.
Oh,
Trying to straighten out the platform here, just hang out. All right, good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Hi, Judge. I'm Carlos Encinas.
Mr. Encinas. I have a couple of things here for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court charging you with aggravated assault, domestic violence assault, and then misdemeanor counts of assault and disorderly conduct, all alleged to occurred on or about the 29th of October, 2023. We'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you on these charges.
Okay.
Set an arraignment for next Monday, the 27th at 1:30. Did either counsel wish to be heard on condition?
Your Honor, we would ask that you release him to pretrial services supervision. It does appear that he has no prior domestic violence felony arrests. His last felony arrest was in 2007 for unlawful use of means. He did complete that sentence in 2009. The incident date in this case is October of 2023, and it does not appear, according to pretrial services, he was ever previously arrested in this matter. Given that that was now well over a year ago, and given his lack of felony DV history, we would ask that you release him to pretrial services. Alternatively, we would ask that you impose a significantly lower bond.
Ms. Goodman.
Your Honor, I respectfully ask the court to impose the bond requested based on the nature of the offense. There's multiple victims, not only on the felony before the court, but there's also new misdemeanor domestic violence. Defendant does have prior DV history, and there are concerns for continued risk to the victim.
Your Honor, can I say something?
And you might not want to do that without talking to your attorney first, but
And Mr. Encinas, this is Jenna Johnson. I'm the public defender here for you this evening. I don't think there's anything that you're going to be able to provide that's helpful at this point. So I
It's
recommend
just-
that you just not make a statement about this evening regarding the bond. I think I gave the.
No, it's nothing about that. It's just that I'm a business owner and I have 3 workers under me. And that means that there's gonna be 3 families that don't have nothing to provide for their family just because I'm in here. And I don't think that's fair for them. And I've been good. And I know I
please
messed up. I know I messed up,
Encinas,
but
can
I've
the
been
jail
good.
leave him, please? Can the jail? Thank you. Your Honor, we would ask that the court consider the information he provided regarding his employment and the fact that he employs other people, in addition to the information I previously provided.
And Your Honor, I will note the victim does sustain injuries.
conditions of release on this matter will include no contact with the alleged victims, that's Jennifer Carmen and Johnny Ortiz. You're not to go near their residence, workplace, or schools. Behavioral health assessment and treatment as available while you're in custody or under the supervision of pretrial services if you're out of custody. Bond will be $7,500. If you post that, you will be under the supervision of pretrial services. I also have new charges. For domestic violence assault, 2 counts of domestic violence disorderly conduct.
Like I said, Judge, you know, that what happened on that October. of
Mr.
20
Encinas, again, I would
was it-
recommend that you make no.
It's
statements
okay. I don't need you right now. I don't need you right now. I'm trying to get my piece out, okay? I know I messed up, dude. I know I messed up. And I'm mad enough to admit it. And that's why I said whatever when they got me on these warrants. But I need to know what these new charges are, because I didn't.
If you will give me a chance to talk, I will tell you about them.
Okay, sounds great, Judge. Thank you.
There's an indication that the victim in this matter is Vanessa Favela and her children.
What?
Grabbing her by the hair, pushing her backwards into the kitchen wall.
Your Honor, I do not know anybody by that name.
Well, I'm giving you as much information as I have, basically.
Okay. Can I get the date on that?
May the 6th.
May the 6th?
Yeah.
Okay, because if that's the same one that pretrial was telling me about, they said that it was on May 3rd. And
I don't
on
know.
May, on those times, Your Honor, I was in California.
I'm basing this on the case number.
I don't even know who the fuck this person is. Judge, would you be able to tell me if they were incarcerated at that time?
You have the information that I have.
Well, I don't have no information, ma'am. I'm sorry.
The
I have
information that
nothing.
the information that I already gave you is all the information that I have. All right, your next court date on this is going to be January the 29th at 1:30. Your bond is $250. If you post that, you need to appear in Tucson City Court on that same date. Again, no alcohol, illegal drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no contact with Vanessa or her children, or going to her residence or workplace. and a behavioral health assessment and treatment. Right, thank you. And Maddie, don't publish if you haven't. You already published? Okay. So if I have to change it, I'll change it. Oops, I forgot. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade and you are?
Brian Gonzalez. I've been having drug problems for the past year. I'm really bad on the blues. I have pulmonary arterial hypertension, terminal illness. I just want to go to rehab, man. Can you send me to rehab? Well, give me a chance. I'll try my best. I'll make it work.
Okay, unfortunately, this is not the time. To set that up. The charges before you were unlawful use of means of transportation, third-degree burglary, possession of narcotic drug, possession of dangerous drug, possession of paraphernalia, and weapons misconduct. We'll appoint legal defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be further on conditions?
That you release Mr. Gonzalez to pretrial services supervision so that he can engage in drug treatment as he requested. It does appear that his last felony arrest was in 2011, and he did complete that sentence in 2017. So he has had a long period of time without contact with law enforcement. Given that, we would ask that you give him an opportunity on pretrial services release.
Ms. Goodman.
Your Honor, the concern is that the defendant is well aware that he cannot possess weapons. He has 5 prior convictions. The concern is that he does have violent priors. Now he's before the court again with multiple offenses. For that reason, Your Honor, he is facing prison, mandatory prison. I respectfully ask for the recommended bond.
Preliminary hearing date will be January 30th at 1:30. Bond is $2,500 secured. Pretrial services if you post the bond. No alcohol or illegal drugs. No firearms or weapons. No contact with the alleged victims or the co-defendants except through legal counsel. Don't know near the incident locations. And substance abuse treatment. And I'd suggest that other than the course of treatment, you not discuss the matter with anyone except your attorney. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
You're up next. You're up next. Yes.
Good evening. I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Abel Menendez.
Mr. Hernandez. I've got an interim complaint here charging with 2 counts of aggravated assault and 2 counts of kidnapping. alleged to have occurred earlier today. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard further on conditions?
Yes, Your Honor, the state believes the defendant is a risk to the community. He does have a significant criminal history, but most importantly, the nature of the offense. He did force his way into this victim's residence. And the concern is there is also the allegation of kidnapping, the aggravated assault. And Your Honor, I would note the defendant is currently on probation, that he was just recently reinstated on July 2024, and also before the court with a warrant, so he does pose a flight risk as well.
Anything further from defense counsel?
Your Honor, we would ask that you give him an opportunity on pretrial services release, alternatively impose a lower bond. I understand he is on probation, however, those probation cases are, I believe, drug paraphernalia and a failure to appear. Given the nature of those charges, and given that he would be supervised by probation in addition to pretrial, we would ask the court impose, release him to pretrial, alternatively impose a significantly lower bond.
All right, preliminary hearing date's January the 30th. Bond is $15,000. If you post the bond, you'll be on a decision of pretrial services, no alcohol or legal drugs, no acts of domestic violence, no contact with the alleged victims in this matter. You're not to go near their residence and workplaces. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And no firearms or weapons. We also have a misdemeanor warrant out of justice court. Marty, this is a 999 with Judge Wilson. Yeah, so any of the okay. Okay. So leave it in front of Judge Ball. Again, warrant from charges from November 5th of 2023 for domestic violence, criminal damage. Apparently failures to appear on more than one occasion. Requested bond is $999. Carlos Betancourt Morales will be appointed to represent you. No acts of domestic violence. You need to abide by previous conditions of release. And again, your next court date will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Ugh.
It's the nature of the.
Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are
Sarah Lombard.
Ms. Lombard. I have an interim complaint charging you with possession of dangerous drug, possession of paraphernalia, and possession of narcotic drug. See, he's dismissing these charges. That is a dismissal without prejudice, which means that they may choose to refile those charges at a later court date or at a later date, particularly if there are further issues. I also have 7 files out of Tucson City Court. Charges that go back to July of 2022 for obstructing a highway along with multiple failures to appear. Charges for possession of paraphernalia and criminal trespass on December 2nd of 2022, along with failures to appear. Charges from December 13th of 22 for criminal trespass, failures to appear. Charges for possession of paraphernalia on February 6th of 2023, failures to appear. Charges for possession of prescription-only drugs, possession of paraphernalia, possession of a shopping cart, February 21st of 2023, along with failures to appear. Charges for possession of paraphernalia and criminal trespass, October 6th of 2023, failures to appear. Possession of paraphernalia, possession of prescription-only drugs, possession of a shopping cart, November 14th of 2023, along with failures to appear. Looks like you graduated the Haven earlier last year, but here we've got new charges. We'll reappoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you on these charges. Your next court date will be a week from today at 1:45. Your bond is $250. No alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to return to the incident location. Thank you, Ms. Lombard. I signed all 3 pages, but you need to fill out a lot of the other stuff. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you, sir, are
Plummer, say your name.
Cameron Plummer.
Mr. Plummer. I've got current charges here for shoplifting at Walmart on Valencia. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and either counsel wish to be heard on conditions of release, understanding there is a DOC parole.
Yes, Your Honor, given the parole hold, we would just ask for a nominal bond for time credit.
You're not to return to any Walmart store. Do you understand that? Do you understand that? We also have misdemeanor charges for criminal trespass in the first degree, criminal trespass in the third degree. I'll release you on those charges, conditions you don't go back to Walmart. Um, And specifically not within 3 blocks of the Walmart on 2823 West Valencia. One of the trespasses was there, the other one was at a residence nearby. Thank you, Mr. Plummer. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are I have an interim complaint charging theft of means of transportation, burglary in the third degree, possession of dangerous drug, and possession of paraphernalia. We'll appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges. Set an preliminary hearing date of January 30th at 1:30, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
I mean, I
Further.
believe that, oh, I'm sorry, Mayor, go ahead.
I'll say nothing further. Thank you.
I believe the state was requesting pretrial services release. Given that, I have nothing to add if the court's inclined to follow that recommendation.
Honor, I've been clean for 3 days already, and I get my life back. I get a job interview tomorrow, but another job. I will start
Okay,
next week.
you're speaking a little too fast for me to be able to hear you, but don't worry about it right now. Additional condition of release, behavioral health and substance abuse assessment and treatment is directed by pretrial services. You will be released to the third-party custody of pretrial services. You need to stay in touch with them, follow their directions. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I'd suggest that other than in the course of treatment, you not discuss this matter with anyone except your attorney. You're also not to have any contact with your co-defendant or the alleged victims. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Good evening, I'm Judge Shade, and you are
Andrea Williams.
Williams, in a complaint charged with possession of dangerous drug and possession of paraphernalia. Will appoint public defender's office to represent you on these charges, and did either counsel wish to be heard on conditions?
And Your Honor, I believe the state's requesting release to pretrial and a smart court hearing be set. I have nothing to add given that recommendation. We would waive time for the PH to be set out 45 days.
Right. Preliminary hearing date will be March the 7th, excuse me, at 1:30 in the afternoon. But you will have what's called a smart court hearing before that. SMART is the beginning of a recovery court, a treatment court. Successful completion of that program may result in a dismissal of these charges without any formal charge. You'll be in a supervision of pretrial services, no alcohol or illegal drugs. Comply with substance abuse assessment and treatment as directed by pretrial services, and comply with treatment court. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And your smart court hearing is a week from today at 9 o'clock in the morning in Pima County Superior Court. All right, thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
I know. All right, Ms. Altschuler,
Yes,
now that you are not speaking over other defendants that are speaking, go ahead. Because you've not filed the notice of appearance.
yeah, Mr. Yarmuska turned himself in this morning. If I could be there in person to hand you a notice of appearance, I would. I can get that filed first thing tomorrow morning. This offense, or it happened, if you look at the pretrial services report, 11/6 of 25 is the offense date. That's when the police
24,
came to,
2 months ago.
okay. Yes, 24. That's when the police came to his home. They didn't arrest him, but they told him how very serious these charges were. He did not run, he did not flee. He contacted an attorney and prepared to turn himself in. Shortly thereafter, I contacted the detective and told him we are willing to turn ourselves in. All of November passes, all of December passes, and the detective contacted me, picked this date, and at 9 o'clock today, Mr. Yarmuska turned himself in at the jail. He I was there at the jail with him. So if he is a risk to flee, he didn't, he could have, and he didn't. He is 75 years old with horrifically high blood pressure that is consistently monitored through an Apple Watch by his doctor. He also has rheumatoid arthritis and a host of other very expensive diseases that old people get, that the jail is not going to be able to accommodate without Mr. Yarmuska being in some seriously high pain, as well as uncontrolled blood pressure. He is retired. He moved with his wife, who is supportive of him. She was there this morning, moved with his wife to Tucson 5 years ago. They have checks. They have monthly checks for their retirement. They don't have access to $35,000. He has no criminal history. He never missed a court date. He's never violated the law in any way. I would ask you to set a realistic bond for him, given these circumstances. He will appear in court. He's not going to run away. And you can set a set of circumstances that will ensure this community's safety, like don't have any contact at any time with anyone under 18 years of age. He will abide by that. You can do home arrest on him. He'll abide by that. I would ask that you set a bond of $5,000 if you are not considering a pretrial services release.
Anything further, Ms. Goodman?
Yes, Your Honor, I respectfully ask the court to maintain the bond that was already set. The offenses, as noted, they are from October. Nonetheless, if the defendant wanted to self-surrender, he had the month of November and December, and up to until now, towards the end of January, he's self-surrendering. The other concern, Your Honor, is that he did use his wife's account that is connected to the IP address. In addition, he did acknowledge the contacts and minimize the matter that he's before the court today. He's by differentiating possession versus distribution. And again, the amount, Your Honor, and the contact is a concern. I respectfully ask to maintain the bond already ordered by the court.
Judge, he couldn't just show up at the jail without the detective having arranged it. I reached out to the detective immediately in November. He couldn't just self-surrender without the detective. He and his wife have been married for double-digit.
I will note that you will be filing a notice of appearance. And I will reduce the bond to $10,000. Other conditions remain, which include no contact with any minors, no internet usage, behavioral health and substance abuse assessments and treatment, and no alcohol or illegal drugs.
Thank you.
All right, and with regard to the problem, I will send Judge Lusky an email letting her know that there may be some misinformation out there. And you may,
Thank you.
and you may want to reach out to her as well.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. But, you know, coming in and
I know, Judge, I would never do this, but I've been waiting all day and was up early
Right,
with my client.
you know, I was dealing with a difficult, you know, mentally ill defendant, and then, you know, I hear close to screaming again. I was thinking it was her again. So
I didn't mean to scream or come close to screaming. I apologize.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
And I believe that's the end of the calendar. May be excused.
You may, thank you.